Hey y'all, my name's Jordan and this is More Please, the show that highlights the best and brightest in the Ottawa food scene. Today, we're at Corner Peach, a restaurant that really highlights its fine dining food with a casual feel. We're gonna chat with co-owner Caroline and find out what this place is all about. Come join me.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really want, yeah.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really want.
What I want is a little bit more.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
We're here with Caroline. Caroline, how you doing today?
Good.
Great
Thanks.
great to hear that. So, Corner Peach, tell us a little bit about it. Where'd the idea come from? How'd you get started?
Yeah, for sure. So we opened Corner Peach a year before the pandemic hit. So we had a year of kind of having our dream come true of owning our own restaurant. And then the pandemic hit and we kind of had to flip everything. We changed Corner Peach into a little corner store. We did a lot of sourdough bread and pastries and natural wine. And then about 5 months ago, we switched the restaurant back. So now we're open again as a restaurant, and we also expanded, so we have the store as well next door. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the menu. You mentioned you reopened the restaurant side of things. So what kind of food can people expect when they come into Corner Peach?
Yeah, so we do really like hyper seasonal food. We work really closely with a lot of our local farmers. It's maybe a little bit of fine dining, but very, very casual, very approachable, simple foods. And yeah, it's all stuff that we just really like to eat.
Awesome, comfortable upscale and things that you know.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, a little bit about you. Where did that love for food come from?
Well, so I actually have a degree in journalism from Concordia, and throughout
Makes sense.
throughout university, I worked in bars and restaurants all the time, all on the front of house side. And then I got like a pretty big corporate job in Toronto working in PR. And there was just one day that I was like, I can't do that anymore. I gotta try to follow my passions of cooking. So I moved back to Ottawa and like went in full time into cooking. I worked at the Black Cat, at the Manx, kind of a lot of different places all over Ottawa. Did a lot of stages in Canada and in Europe, and then came back and we opened Corner Peach.
Amazing. Well, it all sounds great. I'm really excited. So why don't we head into the kitchen and see what it's all about?
Okay, awesome.
Sweet.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
All right, there's a lot going on here. I see some eye round, a whole mise en place over here. But walk me through what we're doing.
Okay, so we're gonna do our beef tartare, which has been on the menu from day one. It was the first thing that we knew had to be on the menu because we love to eat it.
Me too.
And I wanted a tartare that we could have all the time and that we never get sick of and that we really love to eat. So
Cool.
This is what we came up with. We tried a lot of different kinds actually, and this is what we all unanimously loved.
Sweet. How do we start?
So we use I've round. So you can use any really lean meat. And the most important thing is that basically you have a big enough piece that you can like trim off the outsides so that there's no bacteria contamination in
Gotcha.
that sense.
You want to make sure you take off the fat so it doesn't get
Yeah.
too chewy or gristly, right?
Exactly.
Need that lean cut.
Exactly. So, I mean, every bit of meat is a little bit different, but we start by just trimming off the fat, all the excess. We try to be as kind of careful with that as we can, be. Every little kind
Need
of
the
bit.
most yield, right? You don't want to cut off too much meat, too much of that good stuff.
Exactly, and what we do with pieces like this that are totally good to eat once they're cooked is we'll put them in a container and we'll keep them for staff meal, and then we'll make stir fry or something like that with them so that we really try to like limit all the waste that
You
we
got to
have.
take care of your people, right? I'm sure they're happy coming in hungry before serving everybody else this amazing food. They need something for themselves.
It's the most important thing, I think.
And where did you learn how to prepare tartare? Are you self-taught? Did you have somebody that showed you a tartare you really liked one day, or did you just start eating it and think, I need to do this myself?
I guess I lived in Montreal for about 7 years while I was in school, and I mean, almost every menu, I would say, like has a tartare of some sort. I don't think it's there anymore, but there was a restaurant on the street that I lived, and it was a tartare bar.
Bar.
Yeah, so it had
Wow.
like not just beef, they did duck, they did like fish, tuna, salmon, and you could go and kind of like put together your own tartare. So so I did, I don't know, I ate a lot of tartare and I just developed a real love for it, and I guess
here we are.
Here we are, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm very excited to see how this one comes together given all of your tartare experience.
Yeah, so we just slice it like this. There is tartare you can have with ground meat. It's like I feel like it's more popular in Europe to have like a ground meat tartare. But I prefer to have like a little bit of a chew to our tartare,
Yeah,
which
some
is
texture.
Yeah, which is also why we use the eye of round. You know, like you could use like a tenderloin if you wanted, just a nice like lean piece. It would be like a lot softer. But again, you wouldn't really have that like bite to it. So I'm just cutting around. You can see like the little sinewy and kind of gristle. And I just cut around that. And again, like these pieces are great for cooking with. They just like, you don't want to eat that raw.
Yeah, you need to make sure that there's no melting process here with the fat. There's no heat to kind of render that out. So you're just gonna get a chewy bit if you don't have the leanest parts of the meat, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So we just cut it into like a nice little cube.
Beautiful. And are you looking for a certain size when you're making these cuts? Like, for that texture? Like, it can't be too fine, right?
Again, yeah, exactly. I don't want it to be super, super fine. You know, like a piece that big is kind of what we're looking for. So that, again, you're not chewing on like a giant piece of raw meat, but you know, you get that nice bite and you get to like actually taste the flavor of the beef as well as everything else that we're gonna put into it. So yeah, so this is what we do. We take out all these little bits and then I just cut them into strips and chop them down. And then we weigh out our tartare to about 84 grams.
Okay.
So it's like
a good portion.
It's a pretty good portion, yeah. Again, like I want to be able to really enjoy it. I mean, people come here and will just have this for dinner, like as their main course, maybe with like a little side salad or a little bit of bread or something else on top.
And then I see a lot of mise en place. It looks like we're gonna put something very balanced together. I see some shallots, some chives, parsley is our green here.
Yep.
Grainy mustard, salts, the flaky salts, and what is this?
So this is it's like a little homemade pickle mix that we do.
Okay.
Because we found like when we just used one, it just like didn't have all that balance to it. So this is a mix of these like very sour Italian gherkins, like not a sweet gherkin. And then you have pepperoncini, like quite a mild pepperoncini, and then a little bit of capers as well. So I'm just gonna get rid of this raw meat stuff.
That is banging. That's very good.
Thank you.
Salty, acidic, fresh, bright. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I can understand why that's gonna work well with the mustard.
The tartare really needs the acid to balance that out. I'm just gonna wash my hands quick.
Absolutely. All right, and cheese over here. We're looking at Grana Padano, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's right.
Awesome.
Again, it's a little bit of a weird, different thing in tartare, not always like a traditional element. But when we were doing all of our testing, it really stood out to us, so we went with it.
All right, let's build this puppy.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So here we have all of our meat. I start by seasoning it with a little bit of salt. A little more than you think.
Beautiful.
And then egg yolk.
Classic.
And then we do, this is just Worcester. Boop, boop. A little bit of Tabasco.
Need that heat, right?
Yeah, heat and acid again, you know? It's like a really nice pepper to it. And then we start in with all of the things that we put into it. It's like one of the most high maintenance things to do on the line because there's just like so many bits. So into it, I'm adding our just like really, really finely diced shallots. And then we have again like a really finely diced chives, which I really love. And then we have parsley here.
Beautiful.
Again, like it just brightens everything up. Parsley.
The knife work on all this is amazing.
Thank you. You can thank Trish Larkin, who was my first chef at the Black Hat. She really hammered that into me learning how to do that. So in goes our pickle mix as well, and then we put a little bit of grainy mustard.
Okay. Is there a reason you use grainy mustard versus like a smooth Dijon or any other kind of mustard?
Yeah, we tried it with regular Dijon, but it kind of turned the tartare into more of like a creamy tartare.
Okay.
Which like there's nothing wrong with.
And you're still trying to hammer home that texture.
Yeah, like I wanted it to be more acidic and oily instead of creamy.
Awesome.
It gets served with the oily as well, so like you have that creamy element if you want it.
Yeah.
So then we go into a little bit of olive oil.
Extra virgin, I assume?
Yep.
Of course.
And then pepper.
Beautiful.
And then I like to mix it first before we add the Parmesan.
Okay.
And that way we can taste it and make sure like everything is balanced and well seasoned, add more of one thing or another if we need to.
Gotcha.
So we're looking at something like that, nice and glistening. You wanna give it a little taste?
Why not? Tough to complain about that, right?
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Beautiful. Bright, acidic,
yeah.
just a little bit of salt, and I know we're gonna get more from the cheese too, so.
Yeah, so in we go with, so this is just grana padano. Not too much again, but like enough that it's gonna just balance. It's like we want all the elements to come together to make something different. Like I don't want any one thing to stand out. I want it to just kind of meld together. So then, I'm just gonna gently kind of like fold the cheese in. Again, I don't want it to be too creamy, so we're going with that. And then to plate it, what we do is we kind of just like make this large quenelle in the bowl, just by like folding it over on itself.
Okay.
Just like that.
Aesthetic is important.
Yeah, I mean.
You eat with your eyes first, right?
Yeah, and like the kind of classic way to do it is with a mold, but I don't know. I just think that it's like a little bit much and pretentious. It's an extra step that I don't think we really need.
And we keep that classic feel with the fine dining food, right?
Sure, yeah, exactly. A little bit more approachable, you know. And then, yeah, here we have our aioli. We make in-house just like a really classic aioli. Yeah, we use grainy mustard and a little bit of confit garlic as well. That's the only thing that's kind of different, but
My
other
favorite.
than that, yeah, pretty straightforward. So we'll just take a little bit of this in the back of the spoon, like that. And then this is gonna be served with fries, so we'll go next door and make some French fries.
Awesome.
Just a little bit more.
All right, we're in room number 3. What are we doing here? What do we got going on?
Okay, so this is our soft serve. We've had this on again since day one. I kind of fell in love. I mean, I always love soft serve, getting your chocolate vanilla twist on the way to the cottage. But I did a stage and then ended up working at Vin Papillon for a little bit, quite a few years ago now. And they were doing really, really interesting things, different flavors, lots of seasonal, lots of fresh. They'd like walk down to Atwater Market and get strawberries. So that kind of opened up the world of soft serve to me. And I was just like, we have to have this. So when we opened the restaurant, this has been on the menu since day one. We do really seasonal, different flavors. So this is kind of will probably be our last iteration before the winter, where we just transitioned to doing like a cream soft serve with different sauces and stuff.
Gotcha. A little harder to be seasonal in the winter.
Exactly. So right now what we have is, and I do always try to do one vegan, just because I find getting a vegan dessert is like kind of a challenge. So we always try to have one vegan. So right now we have, it's like a pumpkin spice flavor. We actually use a mix of squash and like a butternut squash and a pumpkin, just because the texture and smoothness of the butternut squash I find like works a lot better for it. So it's like a real pumpkin spice flavor on this side, and then on the other side, which is not vegan, is like a cream cheese flavor. So swirled together, you get that kind of pumpkin pie feel.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so let's do it up and I'll show you the toppings and stuff. So here we go.
Oh, beautiful. So we're doing a mix of both right now. The half vegan, half not, like you said,
Yeah.
that pumpkin pie swirl kind of deal.
Exactly.
Beautiful color on it too. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. Yeah, actually we put a little bit of turmeric in it, just to again like brighten it up.
Orange and, all the health benefits in our ice cream.
Yes, exactly. You're gonna stay healthy. So to kind of keep going with the kind of pumpkin spice vibes, we're doing a caramel that has mocha in it.
Okay, and do you make this in-house as well?
Yeah, oh yeah, everything is made in-house.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I try to do just like a little drizzle of this, kind of give it like a macchiato kind of look.
Beautiful.
There you go. And then we top it, we made some little gingerbread cookies.
Gingerbread.
Yeah, so a little bit of crunch
My favorite cookie.
mixed in. Oh, really? Sweet. Yeah, and so then we just cover this little guy all over. And you have kind of like a little bit of a pumpkin spice latte, pumpkin pie kind of vibe.
Wow.
And yeah, that's it.
Okay. I would love to sit here and listen to you talk about ice cream all day, but I would much rather go and
Here you
eat
go.
it. So I'm getting out of here and let's go find out how it tastes, all right?
Right on.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
All right, so I see a few things that I'm familiar with and a few things I'm not so familiar with. So why don't you walk me through what we have here first, and then we can talk about what you're doing.
Sure. Okay. So here we have a miso and date glaze. This is pistachio hummus, and then we have some blanched broccoli from a local farm, Rito Pines. And then here we have some fried, they're actually fried then roasted crunchy chickpeas.
Okay.
This is just a little bit of blitzed up pistachio, toasted pistachio, and
Beautiful.
this is some mint.
Awesome. So what are we building today?
Okay, so we're getting into fall now, so we're changing a bunch of stuff on the menus. This is like a new menu item that we have on. So it's our broccoli dish. We're gonna glaze the broccoli. We're gonna put it in the salamander. It's gonna get nice and barbecue and crispy, and then we're gonna plate it all up like a kind of like a big warm salad.
Miso date, you said?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a little sweet, acidic.
Wow. That's a
Salty.
flavor that I didn't know I needed in my life, but I will frequent it.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm already thinking about like different ways. I think it'd be really great on pork and chicken, and
Yeah.
like different meats and
Sweet,
stuff
umami,
too.
all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Okay, so this is what we're doing. So yeah, we have the blanched broccoli. We're just gonna put it in a bowl. We're gonna cover it in this miso glaze.
My new favorite sauce.
It's very like barbecue, gives
Yeah.
barbecue vibes, but like you don't have those barbecue spices for it. So I'm just gonna toss these up, get it really nice and coated, and we'll put some more on also.
And where does this dish come from? Is this just something like you loved broccoli as a kid and you wanted to find a new way to do it? Or you were just hanging out one day and you're like, you know what? Dates, miso, let's just see what comes of it.
Well, it's broccoli season. I wanted to do something like with familiar flavors, but in like maybe a little bit of a different way.
Awesome. Keeping up with that
and-
creativity, classic kind of mixture together.
Yeah, we always think about like the things that we really like and like, or like the things that we grew up with. So I was kind of like thinking about that old school broccoli and like carrot raisin salad that you used to have as a kid, and I was like bringing in the raisin element and kind of getting those flavors in, but in a like a little bit more elevated way.
Beautiful. And now what are we doing?
Yeah, so we're gonna actually glaze a little bit more, just to make sure that there's like a lot of good, because you know the broccoli's just by itself, so we want to make sure there's a lot of
Beautiful.
char.
You need that sugar to caramelize get it nice and crispy in the
Exactly.
salamander, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
So yeah, then in it goes.
And how long does it take in the salamander?
It just takes about 5 minutes.
Nice and quick.
Yeah. So in it goes. We'll start the timer, and then it'll be ready in a little bit.
Beautiful. And then we'll get to plating.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. So we're gonna take this guy out.
Ooh, crispy. That looks good.
Yeah, so it's like nice and charred. And we have this method so that any of the residual water that's in the broccoli from the blanching process drips down, so that again you get that nice char.
Perfect crisp.
So we're gonna go back and forth here. So yeah, we'll start with the pistachio hummus on the bottom.
Okay, yes.
Give it a-
Pistachio and hummus are not two things that I normally hear together, so I'm going to taste that.
Yeah.
But where's that idea come from?
Well, I love pistachios, and I wanted to just kind of try to do something a little bit different. So yeah, like in place of tahini and regular hummus, it's toasted pistachios.
That's
pretty straightforward.
Really, really good.
Thank you.
And I'm looking around here, and I don't know if this was intentional, but is this vegan? Is there any dairy in this or anything like that?
It is actually vegan. We don't tend to have a ton of vegan options, but it just so happens that this worked out in that way, and was really happy with how it tasted. So it's really great that we can have that and offer that for people, so that everyone can have something to eat, even if
Awesome.
vegan.
Yeah, and it
But
shows
they're-
that vegan food can be super delicious. You don't just need to serve a side salad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Cool. So we got the pistachio hummus on the bottom. This kind of basically acts as the sauce.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to come back over here. We're going to lay out all the broccoli. Try to make it cute.
It's nice and pretty.
Yeah, so it's like nice and crunchy still, but it's definitely cooked.
And you're looking for what? Like a little bit of a bite, but the nice crispy edges and.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want it to be like fully raw, but I
And you
still
don't
want
want
to
it to
have
be too
a bite.
mushy either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we
Pile
just
it nice
layer
and
those
high.
up. All cute.
Beautiful.
And then we're just gonna garnish.
Garnish time,
so
all right.
A little bit of flaky salt for some crunch.
Beautiful.
And then we have these like fried and roasted chickpeas.
Double cook
Again.
for double crunch.
Yeah, I really like a good crunchy texture as much as I can. And then just bumping up the pistachio flavor, like mimicking what's in the hummus. Just like dusting that on.
And are these pistachios just raw? Or are they roasted?
Roasted.
Roasted.
Yeah,
awesome.
roasted and blitzed up. And then just to like have a little refreshing balance to it, because there's like a lot of kind of these salty, sweet flavors, is just a little bit of mint.
Awesome.
And we just put a couple on.
Top tier herb mint.
Yeah, this actually came from my garden.
Wow, it's keeping as local as possible, isn't it?
It is, yeah, like for some reason, like as soon as the weather got a little bit cold, the mint was looking really nice, so.
And I'm really seeing the consistency and the classic but creative, like mint and pistachio, obviously flavors that go together really well, but to do a pistachio hummus with a beet and miso glaze on a broccoli, it's just something I've never seen before, and it tastes amazing from all the components. Now it's time to taste it together.
Okay, right on.
Let's do it. All right, there's a couple more things I see here that really highlight what makes Corner Peach. And Caroline, we have a friend here. Would you like to introduce her to us, please?
Yes, this is my business partner, Emma Campbell. Yeah, she takes care of doing all of our wine and a lot of the stuff with the store and just general management altogether.
Yeah, so I brought out Rosewood's Pinot Noir. We really like Rosewood. They're a Canadian vineyard. We like to feature their stuff a lot. Pinot Noir, kind of more on like the earthy side, still not too overbearing though, so it pairs well with most of our food. Good with the broccoli, a little bit of red meat also, just a very easy drinking red.
And what's the importance of wine in Corner Peach? How does that make you guys you?
It was kind of one of like the main focuses that we wanted when we opened Corner Peach, to feature a lot of low intervention, smaller wine producers, stuff you can't get at the LCBO. And then when we expanded into the store and you were allowed to sell bottles during the pandemic, it was really something that kind of like allowed us to make the store a more lucrative endeavor.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That
really,
sounds great.
Between the wine and our sourdough bread, that's kind of what kept us going through the pandemic. We were able to then kind of make it to the store.
So it really was where it all started.
Yeah.
And that sourdough is awesome, but
you.
I am really excited to get into what we
Yeah.
came here for. So
Good,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna get started. Let's do this in order.
Okay, cool.
Tartare. A little bit of the aioli. Just like you said, it's the perfect cut. It's nice and lean, really good chew. The acidity, the saltiness, the brightness of it all really comes together.
Thank you.
That's an awesome dish.
Thanks.
All right, so now my new favorite sauces. We're here.
Good job, Matt.
Oh, oh, that's crispy.
Yeah.
One of the best bites of food I've had in a long time. I absolutely
Thank you.
love that.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Wow. And can't forget about dessert. Get a little bit of both sides here.
You went for it.
I'm cold.
But worth it. Ottawa, Corner Peach. It's gonna have you saying more, please.
Thanks.